as a country, we've decided that lax gun ownership and not good mental health care is going to be the way we're going to keep doing things.
I can't believe we keep turning on the TV and seeing these shootings that happen over and over, and that we don't take some action against guns and gun violence.
We are once again gathered here and beginning a segment of the show with words such as the discussion of gun control. What, if anything and everything, needs to be done about gun control? And those on the fringe who believe the time is right to put guns in the hands of every American and bring back the Wild West. Once again, we're at the extreme, but a position that begs to be solved once and for all. So let's go around the dial with our next guest, who on social media this day put forth a comment that caught my eye and will no doubt please and enrage plenty of people. That is what commentators do, just in case you're wondering. Here at WHK 1420, The Answer in Cleveland, among other radio locations. Let's welcome Bob Frantz back to the Hardline. All right, Bob, you caught my attention today, and here it was. You were talking about simple-minded, liberal, anti-gun advocates. You're aiming it right at them. Here's what you said. If you were involved in an active shooter situation and you were able to call 911, would you ask for unarmed, in large letters, police to come to your rescue, or would you insist that the responding officers be armed with guns? All right, Bob, I'm going to take umbrage with this again. Come on, Bob. Everybody knows that cops come with guns. What point are you trying to make here?
Well, the point that I'm trying to make is the only thing that brings resolution to an active shooter situation is a good guy with a gun who is there to point a bad guy, point that gun at a bad guy. And we see this every single time there is an active shooter situation, over and over and over again. The way that this thing is resolved is the same way every time. When somebody good with a gun shows up and points it at the bad guy, either A, he ends up shooting himself and ending it right there. B, he surrenders and is taken under arrest and nobody else is shot and killed. Or he flees, before the good guys with the guns get there. It's only the presence of the gun that stops these things. So when someone calls 911, and this is what I wrote that I'm sure caught your attention, what they are essentially doing is saying, hello, does anybody out there have guns? If you do, please come here. Bring those guns to us because we're getting shot at. And the only way this guy's going to stop shooting at us is if somebody shoots at him.
All right, here comes
hold on, Ed, but why do we wait for guns to get here that are minutes away in the hands of police officers instead of perhaps in the hands of trained people, trained civilians who choose to conceal carry?
Now, wait a minute, I'm going to stop you right there. Trained people and trained civilians. Bob, isn't that really the case here? Because there are some people out there saying right now, I believe it's Sheriff Arpaio, who's saying, come on, everybody put a gun on your hip right now. If you're going to have people with guns, they've got to be trained, you've got to be licensed, you have to know that they're not mentally ill. Isn't that all part of it here, Bob? You've got to have the right people there.
Well, I would disagree with Sheriff Arpaio saying everybody should have to carry a gun. Not everybody is equipped. Not everybody has the mentality. Not everybody has the physical ability to handle a gun and to handle it safely. But when you do get a concealed carry license, in most states, you have to undergo training. You have to be able to handle that gun. You have to know exactly what the responsibilities of a gun owner are and what the rights of a gun owner are. And if you know those things and you allow people to carry those into places like that building in San Bernardino, Ed, they're not going to be sitting targets waiting for the guns to show up. They will be maybe only on 1 or 2 or 3 persons out of the 25, 30, or 40 that were in that room, or maybe the hundreds that were in that building. But if the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 are there within seconds with their guns, as opposed to the minutes that it takes for the police to arrive, you're getting the result that you want, and that is somebody pointing a gun back at them, which makes them either flee, which they did, or it makes them take their own lives when they know that their point is hopeless.
30 seconds, last shot here. Do you agree with those who say that the National Rifle Association needs to take a position and go with the Denying Firearms and Explosives to Dangerous Terrorists Act of 2015 and make sure that anybody, the right people, are allowed guns, but people who could be terrorists, they need to be stopped? Do you believe that that loophole's got to be closed?
Well, it's simply a matter of how do you know who is a could-be, would-be possible terrorist.
No, but answer the question, Bob. I'm going to come at you right now. Answer the question. Do you believe the NRA needs to close that loophole?
No, my answer is if we do know who could be a terrorist, absolutely. But it's kind of like vetting the Syrian refugees. There has to be a verifiable way to do that. Absolutely, you should keep guns, explosives, or anything else out of the hands of people who might be using those things against other American citizens. But we don't know who they are at all times. So if there's a way to vet people, and I'm not talking about just profiling, hey, you're dark-skinned, hey, you're a Muslim, you don't get to have one. No, I'm not going for something like that. But we absolutely need to make sure that the people who want to be armed and who want to train themselves
okay.
able to do so.
Remind everybody, Bob and I are friends. Don't worry about it. WHK 1420, The Answer in Cleveland. Bob, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. The Hardline continues.